Hello, I'm David Sparks, and over the years, I've come to really appreciate my journaling habit. I do it every day. I like it so much, I did a webinar that I've linked below where I explained how I journal and why I journal. But since I did that webinar, people have asked me to share some of my templates. What are my journaling templates? And I thought I'd do that starting with my morning routine template, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So every morning, before I really get started with anything, I sit down and do my morning journaling template. And I do it in Day One, which is a great app for journaling. But you could do this on a piece of paper with a pen or in a text file or any way you really want it. So these are the items I cover. And I don't make it a big journal entry. I just like to get started with some journaling momentum in the morning. The first thing I cover is my daily priority, and this is probably the most important thing I do every morning, is I write down one thing that I'm going to do that day. And this may sound like a work thing, and sometimes it is. Today, my daily priority is shooting this video, but some days it's not. Yesterday, it was spending quality time with my daughter. But the idea is you have a single priority every day that you want to make sure you get done. And I use the term priority, not priorities. It's not plural. You can only pick one. Usually I actually pick the priority the night before, but I like to write it down first thing in the morning just to kind of solidify it in my mind that that's the one thing I'm going to make sure I get time to get done today. And I'll tell you, I've been doing this for years, and almost every day I do it. It's very rare that I don't get that daily priority. And it lets you go to bed with a sense of accomplishment, and it makes progress because that's 365 things a year that I make sure to get done. So the daily priority is a big part of my morning journal system. The next thing I do is gratitude. I like to write down one thing I'm thankful for. And, the world right now, there's a lot of weird stuff going on, and people have a lot of reasons to be scared and a lot of reasons to be negative. But there are good things happening too. And you have good things going on in your life, and you need to acknowledge them. I think it really can help you get through your day better. So every morning I write down something I'm grateful for, and it really ranges every day. It could be the guy at Starbucks is really nice to me, and it makes me happy because he gives me a smile. This morning it was the way my dog falls asleep at my feet every morning when I do my morning journal. I never even thought about it, but I look down and I realize she does that every morning. And that's one of the fun parts of it, is to try to find something different every day, and you'll be surprised what shows up. After that, I do what I call a daily meditation, and that's not as hippie as it sounds. I just look through books that I've read and look for something that I thought was important, and I write it down to kind of remind myself to think about it that day. There's a great online service called Readwise that I subscribe to, and it collects all the highlights from all of my Amazon books that I read. I read a lot of books on Amazon. A lot of them have good advice in them that I'll highlight, and those get thrown back at me every morning when I read through them. I get 10 highlights every morning. Quite often I'll pick one of those as the daily meditation. If not, it could be prayer, or it could be something else that inspires you that you write down every day. But I like the idea of putting something like that together in the morning, and then occasionally going back and reading it throughout the day and hopefully letting it sink into your brain just a little bit more. The next thing I'll do is journal what's on my mind. And this is just a section where I can write down anything that's rattling between my ears. There's a practice a lot of journalers use called morning pages, where they'll make a promise to write 2 or 3 pages every morning and not stop until they have those 2 or 3 pages. And they get a lot of stuff out of their brain when they do that. I don't actually do that because in the morning I want to get to work. But whatever I'm thinking about, if there's something on my mind, if I woke up worried about something, or if I'm particularly looking forward to something, I'll write it down. I do find the process of putting it in my journal kind of brings it to ground and settles it so I can focus on whatever it is I need to do next. And I really like that part of the morning journal process. Sometimes under that what's on my mind prompt, I'll have 1 or 2 sentences, and sometimes I will have 2 or 3 pages. It just kind of depends. And the last one I put in there is what in my actions today will show my character. And that's an idea I got when reading a Ryan Holiday book a few years ago, and I really liked it. I like the idea of character and thinking about that because our actions do show our character. And making myself aware of that in the morning is a really good way for me to do a better job of it. And that's a prompt that I see every morning. I don't always fill it in. Sometimes I don't really know what I'm going to say there. But I do like the idea that I'm forced to think about it. And quite often I do write an entry under that question. And then the last thing I do is I just have a little morning checklist. And there are things I want to make sure I get done every morning. In the past, I've done that in a proper task manager. But I find for things like taking your medication or making sure to take a little time to meditate, I don't need to put that in a task manager. Just having it there as a checklist every morning is a good reminder to make sure I get those things done. So the morning routine template for me, I'm going to share it with you. It's down below. Is really something that I start every day with. I feel like the questions I've kind of evolved into it really help me get started, but it's not necessarily exactly right for you. So what I would encourage you to do is take this and start playing with it and, modify it to work for you. But I do think taking a little time every morning to stop and journal before you get caught in all the madness of the world can really help center you and make the process of going through the day a lot easier for you. I can tell you this process for me takes anywhere between 5 and 30 minutes each morning, and it just kind of depends on how I'm feeling and what's on my mind. Usually it's more closer to 5 minutes, but when it's closer to 30 minutes, it's because I needed 30 minutes to kind of work through some things before I get started with my day. But every day I don't regret doing it. I hope you check out this morning routine journal prompt. I hope you try some of it, and I hope it helps you out as well. If you'd like to learn more about me, head over to MacSparky.com and you can check it out. Either way, have a great day.